So quiet. So thank you, Pete, and thank you, Andre Farella, for that meditation. We had to put it on that wall over there because we tried the projector and it was just too bright over here, so that's why it was over there on that wall. But one thing I needed to make an announcement really quick this morning before I get started. I'm sure many of you are familiar with Reverend Jenny Stuve. Yeah, she did make her transition last week. So I just ask that everybody hold her family in prayer, prayers for healing, and prayers for Reverend Jenny too as she makes her next big adventure over on the spiritual realm. So we just hold her and her family in prayer. Now today is our third Sunday of Advent. I'm going to light these again, so let's just hope I don't catch something on fire. And I try to do this without shaking, and I don't know if anybody in here that's ever done public speaking probably thinks, oh, you get up there and it gets so easy and this and that. But I'm going to tell you that no matter how long I've done it, every single Sunday I am nervous when I first come up here. So anyway, if I'm shaking, that's why. But anyway, so our first was for the first week, which is peace. And then last week was, faith. Yeah, then peace and hope. I heard Nancy over there, I think. And then today is our pink, which is love. That's a good color for love. That's always an easy one to remember because, hey, love and pink, you know. Hey. All right. So I think all of us in this room probably know what the world needs more of, right? We know it's love. There's even a song about it, that always goes through my head. What the world needs now is love, sweet love. And I'm not going to sing that because y'all don't want to hear that. No, you don't. Just because Josie said that, I think we need to invite Josie up to sing. And we'll spontaneously invite Heather up to play the guitar while she does that. I was giving Heather a hard time about that before the service, so. But love is something we hear a lot of, and why is that? It's because we can always use love and more of love, right? There's never nobody's ever you know what, I've gotten enough love in my life. I see enough love in the world. We can always use more of it. And don't you think it would cure a lot of some of the negative energies that swirl around us at any given time? Love, all of the bickering we see in the news lately and on social media. Bickering in our own family circles, especially around the holidays, because we probably tend to see more of them, right? More family and friends and things like that. And remember, I mentioned Uncle Ned at the Thanksgiving table, the one that likes to tell the political jokes and stuff like that. The one that can't stop talking about politics. We could give him a big dose of love, and we could watch how his topic of conversation changes, right? At least we hope so, but. Now, of course, we're not talking about the same kind of love that we would see, think about in February and Valentine's Day, that kind of thing. What we're going to talk about today in this love, this is a little bit of a different kind of love. Our Advent booklet reading for this week, for Wednesday, happens to fall right in line with how we refer to love, especially this time of year. So my friend and colleague, if I can talk today, Reverend Karen Romstand writes, "It is said that Jesus was born on Christmas in a manger long ago. Surrounded by the sounds of life, yet just outside the common way. For there were no inns with rooms, they say. No place for Mary to rest her head to birth this babe, conceived of her heart so pure and filled with Spirit's holiness. Though he knew not Mary of the flesh, with visions wisdom came. This child of wonder, so much that Joseph welcomed as his own. This child of light that drew the shepherds from their fields and flocks to see. This child of awe that called the kings from far-off lands to bear the gifts of old, frankincense, myrrh, and gold. The star that lighted the way at Christmas night, announcing the birth of Christ. For love was born on Christmas when Jesus came to life. The life of Jesus, our example of the perfect human, was a life of love. The emotion of love brings feelings of affection for one another, and we take delight when these feelings are reciprocated. The power of love, however, calls us to see from a higher place into love for the pure joy of seeing and honoring good. The power of love doesn't need human reciprocation, for its source of God is never ending. And then she references 1 Corinthians 16:14 of the Bible. Let all that you do be done in love. So today we don't talk about the emotion or the feeling of love so much as we do the power of love, which also happens to be one of our Unity 12 powers. See, we had faith. Then last year we kind of had to find one that fit, peace, which could be any. And then today is love, which is actually one of our Unity 12 powers. But I say we take it up a notch. Let's not just talk about the power of love. Let's talk about the power of divine love. What do you say? You throw the word divine in front of it, and it gets it that little bit of extra kick. Steve wants me to make a pot of Texas chili, and I've told him it's going to have that extra kick to it. So we'll do the same thing. He's doing this. We'll see. I'll bring it up here when I make it. We'll see how Steve's face looks when he eats it. But anyway, he threw down the gauntlet. But so we talk about divine. Divine sounds like a good way to get this party started today. But in her book, Adventures in Resilience, the book that I've been using to refer to our Unity 12 powers, Unity Reverend Sharon Connors says, and bear with me because I'm going to read a little bit of chunk here because it's really good. But she says, one of the mysteries of the power of divine love is that it heals. We all confront thoughts that tell us negative things about ourselves and others. Thoughts that inhibit our willingness to love, to give, and to grow. It is an inner voice with many disguises. Under all of them is fear. Jesus, along with other spiritual masters, suggested forgiving the voice. Part of the reconciliation is to realize it is part of being human. Yet there is a power in us that trumps that voice. It's the power of love. When confronted with that negative voice, we can choose to simply acknowledge its presence and turn our attention to someone or something we love. We can demonstrate a radical kind of love and with compassion treat the voice like a scared child. She goes on to say, our humanness falters in the face of hurt, betrayal, fear, or hate. Our hearts are tender and easily bruised, yet divine love is a power greater than our own human understanding and capacity to love. So is there anyone in here who has never, and I mean never, had a negative thought about yourself? Or people from home? Yeah, okay. But you know what I'm talking about? That little voice that loves to enter center stage when we least expect it to. You know, here we are, we're just kind of moving along in life. You know, it's all rainbows and unicorns. Good things are happening. You know, we're finally where we feel we're supposed to be. And we feel as if nothing can get in our way. You know, that on top of the world type of feeling. When suddenly, the lights go down and a spotlight shines brightly on the stage. Lo and behold, it's the voice. And it's a one-person show. And it's telling you to forget about it. To forget about all that good stuff that's happening because it's too good to last. Or that what you thought you were heading toward, that great thing that you're heading toward, just isn't going to happen. It's ultimately not going to work out, the voice says. You're going to be left high and dry. Has anybody in here ever experienced something similar? Hey, you don't have to raise your hand. Please just tell me that I'm not alone here. That's all I want to know. Y'all don't leave me hanging out up here. Well, the good news is that anything that steps up into that spotlight can also be yanked away, right? So does anybody remember that cartoon with that singing frog several years ago? He'd come out on the stage for this one man and he'd sing. He'd say, hello, my baby, hello, my honey, hello, my ragtime gal. Anybody remember that? Martin? We'll help light your memory, help you to remember. if I can think of what I'm going to say here. That frog would only do this for that one man. The man didn't know this, however, and he took the frog to somebody like a Broadway producer of some kind, only to find that the frog just sat there. He wouldn't get up, he wouldn't look at anybody, he would just sit there and say ribbit, like a regular frog, or whatever sound he made when he was up there. So they'd reach out and just grab the frog off the stage with that big cane that they use. Like those that you always see like in cartoons, that big cane that you can shit off the stage. Well, that is what the power of divine love is going to do with that negative voice. It's going to reach out with that giant cane and it's going to just yank it right off the stage. Because as Reverend Karen said in our Advent booklet, the power of love, however, calls us to see from a higher place and to love for the pure joy of seeing and honoring good. So that negative voice that's all out here, that's outside of yourself, that negative voice that's on a very human level is outside of yourself. But the power of divine love is not, because it resides inside of here. It resides in that higher place. And to be honest, it doesn't take much to activate that divine love, because it's already there, it already exists. You're not trying to summon it, it's already there. We didn't inherently, or we didn't somehow just accidentally throw it away. Sometimes we need to replace the bulb, or we need to tweak it just a little bit to illuminate its shine. But I think about my military boots here. When I was talking about shine, I thought back to my military boots. Sometimes they lose their luster just a little bit. And believe me, they let you know when your boots weren't shiny enough. But I'd just pull out my shoe shine rag, put a little bit of polish on them, a little bit of water, and I'd buff them, and I'd give them that mirror shine. And that's what we need to do to allow the power of divine love to shine through. We sometimes just need to buff it up or touch it up just a little bit. And one of the first ways to do this is to remember. Remember where love resides. And does anybody in here know where the energetic center of love is found in your body? Heart, yes. In your heart. Reverend Sharon tells us in the book, she says, love vibrates pink. Just as our heart pumps life to all parts of our body, thoughts, words, and expressions of love pump vitality and joy to every part of our being and our life. So first, we remember this. We remember where the center of love is. Next, we decide what we choose, notice I said the word choose, to allow to radiate from that place. And what we allow it to fill our bodies and our mind with. We remember, as Reverend Sharon states, that thoughts are things and memories generate positive energy and spiritual power. So I'm in a few workout groups online on Facebook. And some of these groups consist of people who have never worked out a day in their life. So oftentimes we see people coming into the groups that are starting from square one. One post caught my attention a couple of days ago because this man was on here and he was proudly proclaiming how he had given up soda and how he had drank only water for 21 days. He talked about how he was starting to incorporate more exercise into his life and just how much better he was feeling overall. Yet he then stated, almost within the same sentence, how he had failed miserably because he had caved and eaten half of a pumpkin roll. But when he did that, he took the joy of that wonderful change that he had made for 21 days and allowed that one slip of that pumpkin roll on that one day and that one moment to overshadow his joy and to overshadow that positive change he had made in his life by drinking water and beginning to exercise. And I feel that we all do this far too often in life. we don't allow the good memories to shine enough, or the good things that we're doing or we're accomplishing to shine enough in our lives. We instead tend to focus on those instances in our lives where we feel that we somehow failed. Or when something didn't go as we had planned. We fall back to those things. It's almost as if we go back to this as our reference point. So we can somehow remind ourselves, I knew it. I couldn't do it. What makes me think it would be any different this time? With it being whatever it is that we set out to achieve, or whatever habit we decided to change. Why can't we instead begin to reprogram what it is that we go back to? Why can't the memories we go back to be those where we did achieve what it was that we had set out to achieve or to become? Why can't we instead allow those memories, those positive memories, to be the reminder that, heck yes, we can achieve whatever it is we set out to achieve. Be whatever we want to be. Do whatever we want to do. Allow those loving memories, allow the power of divine love in to do its work. If we can go back to the good memories versus those that we perceived as negative. Reverend Sharon mentions 3 things in her book, and I would like to invite you to practice them on yourself this holiday season and beyond. The first is to acknowledge. Acknowledge your good efforts. Remember all of those times you have succeeded at something in your life. Let those memories be your root. Not those where you feel like it didn't work out or you feel like you failed. Go back to those times that were good, that were positive. Let those be your catalyst. Next is to appreciate. Either verbally or in writing. Take the time to appreciate yourself each day. Maybe you didn't eat the entire pumpkin roll. Maybe you said hi and showed kindness to someone even when you weren't feeling those feelings yourself. Maybe you gave Uncle Ned a big hug when he walked in the door and immediately started talking about politics, even when you didn't want to. Take the time to appreciate those and other things about yourself because it's likely long past due. Third, appreciate someone else. Maybe the person who said hi to you when you were feeling anything but cheerful. That person that changed your outlook on the day, even if only for a moment. The person who gave you a hug when you didn't feel like you wanted one, or maybe when you started talking about politics, I don't know. Whatever it was someone else did to brighten your day, or even somebody who crossed your path, someone who you eventually acknowledged to be one of your greatest teachers. Reverend Sharon reminds us that gratitude ignites your love power and is an expression of it. So the world really does need more love, more divine love. It needs us to call forth that divine love that is us. It begins to heal those wounds that we've likely allowed to just fester for far too long. It allows us to love others too. It allows us to express the divine and the God within that we all are. For that divine love that is you is the kingdom of God. Namaste.